Alright, so I did a review on YouTube Shorts a couple minutes ago talking about this film, but I even said there that I had so much to talk about, so I wanted to make a longer review, so that's what this video is. But yeah, tonight I saw The King's Daughter with my brother. This is a movie that I've been eagerly anticipating for the past few weeks, ever since I first saw the trailer for it when I watched The Tragedy of Macbeth. They showed this before that movie played, and I mean, it looked terrible. Like, the trailer was so poorly put together. The text pop-ups were like really, really amateur. The sound editing was awful. Like, it was so quiet. It opened up with like Cineplex Presents, which is like Cineplex is the movie company, one of the main ones in Canada, and so like they're distributing it in this country, I guess. I don't know what the situation is, but yeah, I mean, I did some research on this film like a few weeks later, and then I discovered that it was made back in May of 2014. They shot the entire film in less than a month. And so, like, they made the movie, and then it was supposed to come out in 2015, and, like, 3 weeks before it was gonna come out, they pulled it because apparently the VFX were just that bad. And the movie kind of just got shelved for, like, 7 years or whatever. And then, like, last year, some Chinese company bought the rights to it, and they released it, in January with, like, next to no marketing. I mean, I saw the trailer, but, like, I only found out about this movie's existence like a few weeks ago, and it was because I saw like an indie film. Like, they're not playing the trailer for The King's Daughter in front of like Spider-Man and stuff like that. Like, it was in front of like a relatively lower budget or like at least more indie type film. So, I mean, this film exists. It's a thing, and I loved it. I had so much fun with this movie. I don't think I have had this good of an experience with a bad film in theaters in my entire life. So many bad films I see in theaters are just bad because of how boring they are. This movie was just like so poorly made on so many levels. I mean, it's an awfully executed movie, but I had so much fun with it, and I would genuinely recommend checking it out. I mean, obviously there's other movies that are more worth spending your money on, but if you're somebody who like just enjoys going to the theater, go see this movie. Like, it's that entertaining, I guess. It opens up with like 5 or 6 production company logos or whatever. 4 of them are like just these like no-name Chinese ones. And my brother and I were just laughing. We saw this like in an empty theater, so we were just laughing and commentating and talking to each other throughout the entire movie. And then it opens up with like some like Once Upon a Time, and there's like a shot of like a book on the table, like the classic fairy tale movie opening. And there's like freeze frames and like really weird transitions, and the pacing is just like that fast for the first half of the movie. It's just like scene after scene after scene. You're lucky if you get like 4 lines of dialogue in a scene. Like, that's what I mean. It's so rushed, and the establishing shots are like maybe a third of what they should be. It's just like so cut down, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like, my brother was like shocked, and we were just laughing our asses off at how like poorly made it was. It does get better in the second half, and it's not like that it turns into a good movie or anything. It's still like really bad, but there's so much like narration in the first like half or so, or first 30 minutes. So like once the narration is done, I would say the movie feels kind of more standard. It's not a good movie. Like, at times it feels like the kind of movie that you would watch on the Disney Channel. But I mean, I don't know. It's just, there's so many things to talk about. Pierce Brosnan is incredible in this movie. I mean, the way he looks, like his outfits are so great in this movie. In some scenes he looks like Austin Powers in like his blue tuxedo. In other scenes he like looks like Ozzy Osbourne. He has like a bunch of rings on his finger. He's walking around with so much swagger with like these awful hair extensions, and then he's got like this cane. Like, his character is just so great in this movie. The lead actress, I can never pronounce her name. She's just in the movie. Like, there's nothing special about her character. Pierce Brosnan steals the show for me. Like, he was just so excellent. And like I said, the movie, like, it's just so rushed in the first like 30 minutes or so. I couldn't believe it. I was really hoping the movie would keep that style for the entire film, but it unfortunately didn't. There's like random shots. Characters will be like out for a walk, and then they just randomly cut to like these slow-mo shots of like people on the street watching them. And they look like just like shots that were so thrown in there. Like, I don't know. It was hilarious. I don't know what to say. Like, I just loved it so much. It was so amazing. Yeah, and then there's the VFX. So the mermaid in this movie looks really bad. Like, really, really bad. My brother's description was it looks like a PS2 like Final Fantasy game cutscene. I don't know like why the mermaid even had to be CGI. I can understand that you have to like CGI like the lake or like the tail, whatever you want to call it. But the face, it's like just use a normal human face, or do like makeup. Like you don't have to do like mocap, because I've seen behind the scenes shots where like they had like the dots on their face. It's like you don't have to do that because it looks so bad in this movie. Like the effects are abysmal. It's so stupid looking. But that's what they chose to do, and I mean whatever. So yeah, there's the mermaid, which shows up like every 5 minutes. It just does the same thing. It kind of swims up to the camera and it makes like an annoying sound, like "Ooh," and then it goes away. Like I don't know. The plot of the movie is essentially that like the mermaid can like heal people or whatever. Pierce Brosnan, there's like one scene because he's the king of France, and I don't know, his accent is all over the place in this movie, but there's like this one scene where at the very start he gets shot and he just gets up. He gets shot in the chest. He gets up and then he looks at blood on his finger and he's like, ugh. And he continues giving his speech. It was so hilarious, but it's like that scene he realizes like, oh, he could die, so he needs to like, and he's doing such great stuff for France, so he needs to like make sure that they have like a leader who will live for eternity and they'll be prosperous, and so that's why he seeks like the mermaid. Like it's really stupid, and then the mermaid, the one of the best parts of the movie, in my opinion, just because of what was going on when my brother and I were watching this, was there's a scene where the lead actress is riding her horse. She falls off, she breaks her arm, and then we immediately cut to her seeing like a doctor or whatever. And I looked at my brother and I just out loud I was like, oh, your arm, it's a compound fracture. It's going to have to be cut off. And then not 2 seconds later in the movie, the doctor says, oh, it's broken. We're going to have to amputate it. And we just laughed out loud. And I was crying for about a minute straight of laughter because, like, it was just, the timing was perfect that I just predicted they were going to talk about cutting her arm off. So, yeah, there's also some like really out of place songs in this movie, like where they try to throw in like modern music into the film and it just doesn't fit whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, it's a bad movie, but it's great. The last thing I want to talk about is the set design. Set design is actually not too bad in the movie. Like when they're in like the castle or whatever, or the kingdom, whatever it's supposed to be, it looks pretty good. Like it looks like an actual palace or whatever, but whenever they're like in the cave, there's only like 2 locations in this movie. That's the thing. There's the palace and then there's like the mermaid cave. And whenever they're in the mermaid cave, it doesn't look good. It looks like they just brought a camera to like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride in Disneyland and they just recorded on set there. Like that's what it looks like. It doesn't look very nice, but also, quick addition. Apologize if the audio in this review wasn't very good. My earbuds may have been like rubbing up against my hoodie. Yes, this video was edited with iMovie and it's not like in my normal format. I don't care. But the other thing I forgot to mention, there's this one shot I loved so much. It was like this shot of the palace from far away, and the music's all dramatic. It's like boom, 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 and with every like bass drop, it like zooms in on like Pierce Brosnan, and it only happens 3 times. I was really hoping they would do like one more, where it's just like an extreme close up of his face. They didn't do it, unfortunately, but I wanted to throw that in. It was another very funny thing. Back to the rest of the review. I don't know. I had so much fun. Like, if I had seen this movie, and there was other people in the theater, so my brother and I couldn't talk, I probably would have been bored out of my mind. But I think just because we were watching it together and we could talk about everything that was going on and how stupid it was, it made the experience that much more enjoyable. So this movie, like, realistically, it's like, like a 2 out of 10 or something, like, or 3 out of 10. Like, it's bad. But entertainment-wise, it was probably like an 8 out of 10 for me. It does get a little bit slower in the second half, and it's not as exciting as the first half was, but it's still something. Would I watch it again? Maybe. Like if somebody wanted to go see it, sure, but otherwise, I don't know if I'll ever watch King's Daughter again, but it'll always remain in here. So there you go, guys. That's my longer, in-depth talk about The King's Daughter, the newest movie starring Pierce Brosnan. It made $750,000 on its opening weekend. So that kind of says everything. But yeah, there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts on the movie.